Good morning. Hoping you're having a great morning. NVIDIA reported last night. There's a lot of people who didn't understand accounting, and maybe I should help with that. But we're a few minutes away from the open, so maybe we'll look at some stocks. It is the most active. Exact Sciences is up 18%. What's going on with Exact? Oh, Abbott's buying Exact. Wow, congratulations to Exact. That was a long journey. I was in that company super early. Walmart, Schwab, Alphabet, Strive, all trading quite a bit here. Cypher Mining, CIFR, CoreWeave up on Nvidia results, alleviating some concerns there. PAX Group, what's happening with PAX? Reports big earnings. And most of the growth stocks are rebounding. So if you're short quantum with me, it might be a rough day. Bath and Body Works is down. NetEase. Abbott is down on the Exact acquisition. Everything else looks pretty muted. It looks like it's just all winners today. Yeah, I do think quantum's running out of gas, but we'll see. So yeah, the accounting lesson. I mean, it's so embarrassing to watch people on the internet fumble this because everyone wants to offer their opinions, and it's great. You know, it's wonderful. We all have a microphone on the internet. Don't offer your opinion if you don't know what you're talking about. And once again, it's my guy JG Nuke just running his mouth. Let me see if I can get you guys a clip of him, but let's watch him. Oh, he's got 2,000 people watching him. He doesn't trade. He's never been on Wall Street, but people watch him. It doesn't make any sense. I mean, I'll let them watch him, but that's insane. You know, I don't know who in their right mind would want to hear from him. He's misleading everybody about NVIDIA. I don't think he understands it, to say the least. All right, quantum fall a little bit on the open here, which is great. That's exactly what we need. I might short OLMO. It's been a decent short. I mean, it does feel like there is some strength there. Somebody wants to buy it, but I don't know how. I do want to put the effort into it, WT. I just don't know how. I need a social media expert, you know. And the other thing is I do have a job, so I can't really just do social media all day. I think that's not in the cards for me. I mean, I could do a little bit more, but we'll see what happens with NVIDIA and its friends. But yeah, I wonder if the rally fades. You know, like I said, there was a lot of high expectations. I mean, there were not too many people that didn't think, you know, NVIDIA would beat the out of the earnings. Jensen telegraphed that. All the customers telegraphed that. So a lot of times, as you guys know, when all the information is sort of telegraphed, many, you know, times you'll see a sell-off despite the good news because it's just too well known that what was going to happen. You know, that's just makes sense. So, you know, would not be surprised to see NVIDIA say flat or something like that. Again, mood of the market's pretty bad. Just a lot of pessimism, dour attitude, you know, that kind of thing. Lay's is up 11%. Always like shorting Lay's. Oh, my Agios is up nicely. Almost $24 here. I love it. AGIO. For anyone following. See, again, all eyes on NVIDIA. If the market is tired of the good news, I know it sounds weird, but sometimes traders are so used to, you know, the company beating and raising that kind of, it gets their questions move on to something else, like, is there end user demand? You know, the end user is buying from OpenAI and is buying from Anthropic. So are there people buying the products that those companies are offering? And the answer obviously is yes. But if they're buying, let's say it's 30 billion from OpenAI and Anthropic, which is roughly what they're doing right now, another 30 billion, say, from Google and I don't know, XAI. So you have 60 billion in revs. Does that support buying what will basically be 300 or 400 billion in GPUs? Well, those are, well, you need to break even just to break even on those GPUs, those revs have to run for, 5 or 6 years, and they have to be very high margin, which I think they are. But those revs are growing very fast. So they're probably going to double pretty easily there to be 120 billion. And in that space, only a couple of years is your payback period, which isn't bad. And if they double again, you're really getting your money back very quickly. And those machines will continue to be in service. So it feels like a little bit of an overspend if you think of it this way. But at the same time, monetizing this stuff still hasn't started. So add another 100 billion, and that's annually, for ads. If OpenAI supports ads, their business could grow dramatically. So now you're talking about very good, healthy profit margins. So I think all of this can keep going, but it's sort of it's so opaque to the street, because OpenAI is not public, because Anthropic's not public. It's a little bit hard to really tell what's happening. And that leads people to conspiracy theories. Biohaven near $10 here. Agios over 20 bucks, almost 24.5 now. Beautiful rally in Agios we bought yesterday. Caught them not too strong, thankfully. So hanging in there. Yeah, Biohaven's okay. Why are you streaming your stock picks publicly? Well, I do this financial software called Godel that I'm sort of promoting. I don't know what's going to happen to Biohaven. I just know it's a high quality company with, smart management and good assets. Isn't it healthy that OpenAI and others aren't public? Shows they don't need retail. Well, it has nothing to do with Enron, that's for sure. There are more and more companies that are staying private because the private capital markets have gotten so developed where you can raise 10 or 20 billion privately, which is very hard. It was very hard to do 10 or 20 years ago. It's almost basically impossible. So, many great companies are private: OpenAI, SpaceX, Stripe, etc. Palantir competes with OpenAI. That's the best way to think about that. But also IBM, Accenture, some guys like that. Yeah, then Balenciaga pays me. I don't have an opinion on Altimmune. OLMO we're short, but OLMO doesn't look like a fantastic short or anything. It's kind of just popped, and I've gotten used to biotech fades. Palantir competes with OpenAI because they're out there trying to automate Fortune 500 work, and OpenAI is trying to sell that exact tool as a do-it-yourself to Fortune 500s, whereas Palantir says we do it for you. Private markets are not any less irrational, no. In fact, they're sometimes more irrational. But I would say that, they can be somewhat, sometimes they can be more irrational than public markets. Sometimes they're not. But one of the reasons that they can be irrational is there's FOMO applies to everybody. One of the reasons they're often very rational is that they're managed, these big funds are managed by sophisticated actors. And those folks are being paid a big carry to manage, billions of dollars for, very sophisticated investors. So they should be more stable and less, prone to, bubbles and whatnot. But, we've seen in history that that's not the case. SoftBank, for example, and others. Quantum feeling quite weak here. Nvidia's hanging in though. Nvidia up 4%. CoreWeave up 7 or 8% there. Again, our Agios is really trucking through. That big disappointment they had you know, certainly not good news, but they do have other, they have their drug, it's approved, it's selling, they have a mountain of cash, and their drug is going to be used for thalassemia as well. So there's pretty good reason to believe that Agios is pretty undervalued, but at some point I'm going to trim. I mean, it's gone up a good amount very quickly, so I like that. Usually when that happens, I get out. Sometimes I get out a little early, but that's okay. D-Wave is surprisingly strong. I might pick on D-Wave or Rigetti and short some of those guys. I mean, INQ is damn near flat, which is, you know, pretty exciting on such a big up day. You love to see that. OLMO's rallying a bit here, but so is Agios. And again, Quantum continuing to weaken. BTQ only up 5 cents as well. That's a stock's been a dog. Might take the trade in Agios. It's been a good winner for me here. Actually, not that great. I kept buying more and more of it, so my average isn't as good as I thought. I got more RAM, 64 gigs, 5090, the works. My stream was always, you know, eating up RAM along with my other products or websites that I was on. Quantum does not want to rally. That's a great sign. There's a company called SuperX AI Technology. Jesus Christ. It's got a 500 or 600 million market cap, so pretty tiny. Micron's down 3%. Nvidia kind of complaining about gross margins last night. That was the only thing you could really have picked on. The financials were fine. My Agios options got exercised. Yesterday it was also up like this, and then it ended up flat. Or actually it ended up down. So, like I said, somebody really wants to own it, but they can. I will help them. 20%, jeez. I'm almost out of Agios. Sold like 20,000 shares so far. Decent win. But, and I have more call options. I gotta sell those too. But yeah, on the flip side, OLMO is a good sized loser too, but maybe it'll, you know, maybe it'll calm down. I don't know, some big drug fund wants in. That's pretty clear. IonQ still fading, almost down. D-Wave's calmed down a bit too. Rigetti as well. BTQ's now down. Very nice to see that. That's one of my bigger shorts. Anavex down a little bit too. Still have exposure there. Of course, I'm an Oracle expert. I don't know if OLMO will get bought out. It's hard to say. Replimune is like a big question mark. Go at 𝗷𝗩𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 there, but I can definitely do that. Just give me a second, I guess. IonQ down. Let's go. That's what I need. Like $1 or $2 down. It's good money. Open door almost down. Nvidia dropping a little bit, still up on spectacular earnings there, but market very tricky right now. So I'm really unclear what the market wants. Feels like anything will disappoint. But we're also heading into the holiday season, often see a so-called Santa Claus rally. So I don't really believe in that kind of seasonality that's so predictable, but, you know, seen it so many times, maybe a little bit, you know, of a believer, but okay, I'm gonna pop right back up. I think it's a good short. Like I said, somebody wants to own it, but it's this was a single-digit stock pretty recently. I know things have changed to some extent, but I don't think they've changed that much. They raised a boatload of money too. So once it calms down, I think I can cover some, but for now, somebody doesn't want to buy it slowly. They're buying it sloppy, as we used to say. Okay, they don't call it that, but you know what I mean. Well, you don't pass phase 2. That's not the word verbiage we use. It's not a pass or fail. Easy money stacks rally. IonQ down nicely. Love it. Yeah, Scalesman. Ingodel says, shorted Ulma, just out of the blue gambling. Yeah, I know how you feel. I know how you feel, Playboy. That's what I'm doing. Also have to try the new OpenAI Codex model, which I'm being highly recommended. It's quite good. Sort of something I think OpenAI was holding in the back pocket to drop against Google in these AI wars. But yeah, I'd love to see this weakness. Although, you know, 𝗓𝗡𝗅 is still flirting with red, BTQ is red. Definitely some strength in biotech. You know, the ULMA strength is kind of remarkable. Agios has been a really nice trade. It's almost 26. Oh, I got to install WSL2 on this thing. Or does it come ready? Takes forever. Got to do hypervisor and all this stuff. It's Windows subsystem for Linux. For any of you computer users. Oh, you guys made money in Biohaven? I'm so happy. Make sure you sign up for Goodell, goodellterminal.com. Biohaven was, I'm surprised you guys liked that trade so much because it was pretty rickety. Yeah, almost disaster. But yeah, I expect to get, you know, you can fade back to 22 by the end of the day. I mean, secondary, you got the Roche news. Again, $5 stock for a long time. Not that surprising these drugs work early stage. I didn't think that was really that surprising at all. Any estrogen degrader should sort of help you. So, again, could it be a big class of drugs? Yes. Could somebody want to be in 5th place for this class? Yes. Is there another SERD out there that's approved and it's not selling that well? There's actually 2. So you want to be number 5 or 6. I don't know. That's not how that's exciting. But go ahead, buy it. Buy it all you want. Need a new keyboard, a mechanical keyboard. This keyboard. Then I need to install all the stuff that I have. I don't have a RVMD pick really. What are you thinking? I don't know how much AGIO is going to recover. I've sold almost all of it, if not all of it. It's a good trade. Bought it at 22, sold it at 25. Next. The Easy Money Stacks gets a new toy. That's how that works. Literally shaking right now. New computer is just a big Alienware tower. It looks kind of ridiculous. Maybe I could show it to you guys. Let me see if I could show it to you guys. Sneak this through here. This is what it looks like. Isn't that nuts? It's a beast. Yeah, it's a 5090 too. Alienware is great. Alienware makes... I was going to order Main Gear. I used to use Main Gear sometimes. They make good computers too out here in New Jersey. But, oh! 827. We lit. It's a mini fridge. It's a... No, it warms my feet too. Windows is better than Mac. Let's be real. Let's be real. Slightly better. Windows is slightly better if you're a developer. Slightly. I didn't go to Micro Center. I went to Alienware.com. This stream brought to you by Alienware.com for your hyperscaler GPU needs. And Nvidia, the world's first $10 trillion company. I love seeing IonQ down 1%. I love it. I love it. Temple OS. Straight Windows is garbage. You garbage. You garbage. It's like 5K, I think, Brian. Hopefully it lasts for at least a year. Mac OS is well-maintained Linux sometimes. Some of the recent releases have been not great. Capper might be next week. I'm not closing the IonQ short. Look how nasty this chart is. Look how nasty the price action is. Quantum's just starting to go down. Alexa up to, I don't know MP. It's not my lane. Rare earths. For me to learn rare earths would take 5 years. I'm not saying I'm not going to do it, but I have a lot of other things to learn, like freestyling, breakdancing, graffiti art. I'm not a TA guy, but I'm enough of a trader to know if a stock's dropping while the whole market's rallying. That's suspect. Yeah, ABVX saving the day. Learn all my rare earths, all those hard to pronounce elements. I don't know. It's a $3 stock now, Darren. I don't know that that's going to change anyone's mind. Obviously, the European comp has decided that it's over for NVX. The shareholders are holding on for hope, but obviously less hope than they had a few months ago. So squeezing that last lemon juice out of the lemon, I don't know. You tell me, is it a good idea, or are there better uses of capital? You want every drop. I do have some stuff to do with Google Gemini that I don't necessarily want you guys to see. I have an entire environment set up here, so I can't do it on my other computer. Again, for such a huge beat, and the company basically telling you they have $500 billion of future sales to book, yeah, stock's kind of, reaction's a little bit tepid. I thought it could go over 200 or 205. Again, Street's kind of very used to this, very ho-hum. Their bigger question is, why aren't we seeing the revenue from the other companies? And what's funny is we are. We just don't have the OpenAI and Anthropic financials every day. If you look at Anthropic, they started the year at $1 billion. Now they're at 7. How many companies are 7xing in 1 year? That's not a small base to 7x from. And OpenAI's got even more revenue than that. I think you'll see 50 billion in OpenAI next year. Now, Meta, companies like that, you know, they're not going to generate revenue per se. You know, some of it, they're doing like ad recommendations or whatever, but some of it is just content that they're going to show, you know, use to, you know, further ensconce their kind of users. Which model am I supposed to get? Keychron. Q1 Max. Keychron. Q1 Max. Thank you. $183. Excuse me. Yeah, Rigetti almost down as well. BTQ really getting smoked here, down 5%. I love it. No, I love it. Even Oklo is down, so all Frontier is getting cracked. Biotech is getting some of that money rotation. Nvidia dropping a little bit more now, down on, below 193. Again, market getting bored here with these great results. The market wants to see dynamic results from the app layer. I don't know Culper, don't really know Prax either.
Shkreli.
Abivax, just, you know, it's a horse. You know, it's probably going to announce M&A deal for JP Morgan. It's my guess. Okay, so maybe I'll use my old computer as my programming computer and my new computer maybe as my streaming computer. That way I can divide my... I don't want you guys to see my programming most of the time anyway, so... If I get IonQ before 47, it's like Christmas. Below 47. These things will keep melting down. I'm going to make you Koreans apologize. Now it's your turn to apologize. Teal is a very diversified public portfolio. He's got a lot of people working for him. No, I don't think you should learn options trading. It doesn't make any sense. Yeah, Teal's investments in privates are... You know, he's obviously one of the best private company investors of all time, quite frankly. Bitcoin again breaking below 90. Little alpha for once. Nvidia flirting with 191 now. Really barely up on what were incredible numbers. I mean, really huge beat, huge guidance raise, huge backlog. They're basically telling you next year is going to beat by 100 billion. But the market is yawning, partially because the market is thinking this isn't sustainable. Where are the users? Now, you know, Jensen mentioned right away, ChatGPT is now at 800 million weekly active users, which is incredible. But again, the market, for whatever reason, doesn't trust perhaps that, you know, this boom is what it's made out to be. And when the market doesn't trust something like that, you know, it becomes one of these things where it's hard to prove. It's a little hard to prove that this demand is sustainable and real. There's a lot of skepticism, for example, about OpenAI's ability to purchase, you know, huge amounts of equipment. There's a lot of skepticism about, you know, is it going to be better for Google to go from trad search to AI search? You know, it just sounds like it's going to cost more. There's a lot of questions about all those things. And, you know, once you get into that mode of cynicism and questions around this stuff instead of FOMO and excitement, you really have shifted into a different mind state. Where now it's like, well, you got to prove it, and proving it is not going to work on the NVIDIA side. It has to come from other people. And if the market feels like, well, all the demand from AWS and Azure and NVIDIA is just irrational VC and FOMO led purchases, then you know, they'll be out of money soon. But if it's rational purchases because the customers love the product, well, then we're going to maybe see more and more. And I think you see Meta giving a signal that they understand their purchases may be irrational. That's not the signal you're getting from Google. It's not the signal you're getting from OpenAI and others. But in some ways, you know, the market doesn't trust those signals that much. And this is why, like, NVIDIA can beat earnings till the cows come home. I'm not sure it's going to make a difference because the market needs the validation that these purchases are the, you know, mean something.